Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show fan page on Facebook. We're live and local on your home for Alabama sports. So glad that you've chosen to make us a part of kicking off your day as well as your week on your home for Alabama sports. The Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports, your show, your team. Want to invite you to join me on the conversation at 205 342 9904 205 342 9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. So give us a call, give us a chat at Martin Houston 35 at Martin Houston 35. Give us a chat. Let us hear from you this morning, or follow us on and like us at Martin Houston fan page at Martin Houston Live. We are excited to be kicking off the week. Got a lot to get to. A lot of different topics we can get to, and we will bring all of those things to the table. Of course, I'm sure we'll settle in and settle down on on the SEC Media Days, which things kick off with that today. So, of course, when you get to SEC Media Days, it kind of gives you that feeling that football season is just around the corner. And so, as we look into the SEC Media Days, we'll be talking about that with today's crew kicking things off. You have Ed Orgeron of the LSU Tigers. You have Dan Mullins of the Florida Gators, and you have Shane Beamer, the new guy on the block for the South Carolina Gamecocks. We'll talk about the new coaches and interim coaches and all that stuff that's been two SEC media days. It's kind of crazy to think that since the last time we had this event, that there's 8 new coaches. And I'm going to tell you how many new coaches we've had uh, lead the program, the opposing program, since Nick Saban took over at Alabama. It's going to kind of blow your mind how many different coaches that have led SEC programs since Nick Saban took over. But before we dig into that conversation, some of the other things we'd like to talk about with you this week to start things off is what's the best unit? What's the best unit that for Alabama? When you look at Alabama football, is what's going to be the best offensive unit? What's going to be the best defensive unit? So we can talk about that. In one of the even on the defensive side of the ball, I think easily say that at the end of the season, if you had asked me at the end of spring, which unit was going to be the best unit on Alabama's defense, I would have hands down said outside linebackers. But with the addition of Toa, does that change? Is the addition of him is not only that potentially making him and Christian Harris the best unit this year, could these two be the best two inside linebacker combination Alabama's had under Nick Saban? Who would you compare them to? What unit would you say is better potentially? We're just talking about on potential right now. Could these two be the best two? So that conversation is up on the table. And then, of course, Alabama making news this weekend, getting yet another big recruit, Tyler Booker. Tyler Booker of IMG Academy via Connecticut, the number 39 player, 6'5", 315 pounds. As I said, he's the number 39 overall player, but moves Alabama to number 6 overall. So Alabama moving up the rankings one slot outside of the top 5 and on a collision course with being the top class. And Robert Gillespie, the running back coach, the primary recruiter, doing an unbelievable job in terms of what he's doing there. And does he have one of the biggest challenges, being that he has one of the most loaded classes? Rooms uh, player room, position rooms with the number of running backs, and will he be able to manage how to incorporate Brian Robinson and all of these other talented running backs and keep them all happy? Before we get into the NBA conversation and then circle back around to SEC Media Days, I want to thank all of you once again for tuning in and remind you that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, and be the difference you want to see in the world today. As I said, NBA basketball. I'm not sure where you feel, how you feel, if you even care, but if you like NBA in the NBA and NBA basketball, I think this has been one of the more intriguing and exciting and engaging playoffs that we've had in some time, despite me being a LeBron James guy and despite the superstars that have existed before. I think these two teams kind of make you get a fresh retake of NBA and how hard it is to win a championship. And these teams are battling, and I think you're seeing a changing of the guards. Actually, I think you're going to see maybe one or two more flashes from the Warriors with their current structure as well as LeBron James. But I think you're looking at two of the teams that's going to be there to compete for several years as two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo just put his team on his back along with what's happening. If you didn't watch that game, I think the Suns played a near perfect game in the first period, only to have the Bucks come back and score 40 plus points in the second and have a 19-point swing and take a 3-point lead to halftime, and then get up by 13 or 14 in the fourth and almost lose that lead as it came down the stretch. But defense still wins championships, and with the 1-point lead, Drew Holiday makes an unbelievable steal, alley oops to I think the potential series or Finals MVP if the Bucks win. Giannis, and of course they go on to win the game. So, Bucks looking to win their first title in 50 years on Tuesday, as well as the Suns looking to possibly take it to Game 7 as they travel back to uh, Milwaukee to wrap up and try to get that third win to make it a Game 7. And the Suns have been the best road team all year. They've been the best road team in the playoffs. Will they get a road win to take it to 7? I'm thinking the Bucks take it home in 6 and win their first championship since the days of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So, and by the way, if you watch it, I just know there is no COVID. There's no way there's any COVID in uh, there's no way there's any COVID in Milwaukee, especially at least not at Deer Park or Deer whatever they call it. That place is crazy and rowdy, but they have reason to be. All right, let's get ready to go to break here. We're going to go to break a little bit early here, come back on the other side, and we'll start talking about SEC Media Days. Only 48 days away from the season. Um, could you know we be looking at potentially the best unit uh, in Alabama football history as far as inside linebackers? Could these two, Christian Harris and Toa Toa, be the best two to do it at the same time? And want you to think about this as we go to break here. What would you ask what would you ask Nick Saban or any coach today? If you could ask any coach, but specifically, what would you ask Nick Saban if you had the mic at SEC Media Days? Would you do one of those stupid questions that so many people ask, or would you get in his business? What would that question be? If you want to get that question on the air, give us a call at 205 342 9904, 205 349. 342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Taco Casa, quality, taste, value under the biggest cactus in town. Your best option for lunch and or dinner today under the biggest cactus in town. Quality, taste, value. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. And if you want to chat us up, you can also post it on our social media outlets. Thanks, and we'll be back in just a moment right here on the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Slow down and be careful. We got a wreck on US 11 for 2059 at Cottondale at exit 79. McFarland westbound heavy at 69 and loading northbound slow up to McFarland. If you see other conditions, of course, give us a call. 205-886-8886. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. It is SEC Media Days. They're live, they're local, they're back in Birmingham, back in Hoover, and I'm asking you, what would you ask Nick Saban if you could be behind one of those mics? Or maybe you want or maybe a better question is, what coach would you most want to ask a question of? We can take either one of those angles, either one of those questions, and we will make it work this morning. Joe, here's a very interesting stat. That I'd like for you to hear before we get into SEC Media Days, and then we'll talk about those two questions. First of all, since 2019, the last time we did this SEC Media Days, there are 8 new coaches since the last time. 8 new coaches. Think about that for a second. 8 new coaches since the last time we had an SEC Media Days. So that makes you start thinking, how many coaches have we had? Because right now, if you look at the SEC Media Days and you add up all of the defeats that Nick Saban has suffered at the hands of the current roster of SEC coaches, it's a grand total of how many? 1. Right. It went down before Gus Malzahn left. It was 4. With his departure, 4 total wins, and Gus Malzahn took 3 of those with him, leaving Ed Orgeron as the only coach to have beaten Nick Saban. Now, first of all, when you say Nick Saban is starting his 15th year, Joe, that just sounds crazy when you think about all of the conversation that people had when Mal Moore finally convinced Nick Saban to come, and they were like, "Well, he's not going to stay long. He's just passing through. You guys are not going to have him very long." Well, I mean, who wouldn't take Nick Saban for 4 years based on what he did in his first 4 years here? So I guess that still would have been a good deal, right, Joe? If we had just got Nick Saban for four years, we still would have been back on the national scene. But the reality of it is, Nick Saban has now been with Alabama for 15 years. 15 years. You want to venture a guess how many coaches, either on an interim basis or a permanent basis, have led the other 13 programs?
The number's got to be a lot. Oh, gosh, 30. Yeah, 30 would be a good
number. Yeah, this should have been I'm not going to answer it immediately. I tell you what, if anybody can call up, Joe, you're not even close, by the way. If anybody can call up or post on chat, if you can call and get within 3 to 5 of this, I'll give you a Martin Houston hat, Martin Houston shirt, and a Martin Houston mug. I'll get it to you, and if you can call up and get that number, I'm gonna just leave it hanging out there like a hanging Chad, in terms of how many coaches, interim and permanent head coaches, have been at the head of the SEC or other 13 schools in Nick Saban's 15 years. It will blow your mind. So
we got somebody ready to guess right now. How about you? We want to cut into Super Joe and see if he can guess?
Yes, let's go ahead. Let's bring Super Joe in. Super Joe, you in with the Martin Houston show. What's well, I know what's on your mind. You're trying to win that Martin Houston prize pack for the number of coaches that have been at the head of SEC programs since Nick Saban took over 15 years ago.
Well, honest, I'm be honest, I probably wouldn't win on that. I can't even be honest with the my intended to talk about before with the recruiting.
All right. Well, go ahead, Super Joe. If you don't have a guest, go ahead on what you got on recruiting.
Well, I tell you what, we jumping up to number 6. Because one thing about it is we can cherry pick who we want for the position that we need. And that's great because I already see Alabama getting the number one recruiting class, signing class already. I said even before we even hit number 11, I already saw it. But then I was also hearing some things on Facebook too. I know a lot of people saying that. I've been saying this myself, and I'll admit to that Jalen Milroe possibility might go get ahead of Paul Tyson. But then there's some people saying that Jalen Milroe, something like there's a possibility might be the one that pushed Bryce Young. I said, well, ooh, I don't know yet. I don't want to get too much of a jump on that. But I'm hearing more positive points about Jalen Milroe. They talk how athletic the man is like this. But the question I have is, are we going to have a fan day this year, or that's probably going to be that already?
Joe, yeah, if you watch the NBA Finals up in Milwaukee, have you seen any of that? Joe, have you seen it?
I haven't seen much of it. Oh yeah, for sure. The Deer District has gone crazy.
Okay, I'm like, if the Deer District Super Joe, I guess it's just somewhere close to the Coliseum, or I mean, their basketball arena, but their basketball arena Super Joe is sold out. Okay, and so people are inside watching the game, um, and hungry for that championship. But Joe, how many people would you say is probably outside? Couple thousand?
Oh yeah, a couple,
Easy.
3 to 5, 7.
Yeah, yeah, easy, easy.
Something like that.
Yeah, and they are shoulder to shoulder, uh, elbow to elbow, hugging, slapping high five. I call it. I always say people are worshiping because Joe, they have their hands raised and they're shouting the whole time. I said, and they can go and they start from the start of the game till the end of the game, and it seems. I mean, I've not heard of there being this big outbreak in Milwaukee. So, and the only reason I bring that up is it's like we have mixed messages about we receive mixed messages about where this virus is spreading, how it's spreading, etc. And to me, the SEC media days kind of sent mixed messages with the way they're doing SEC media days. So if you look at that lead from SEC Media Days, you very well may be looking at there not being much fan day or some type of restricted fan day for Alabama. At this time, I would venture to say that we may have some a um, moderated or modified type of fan day, Super Joe.
Yeah, we got that because you know what the thing about it. Milwaukee, I think they haven't done much since Lou Alcindor had it.
They hadn't, as far as championships, they hadn't won one since then. I think he won it in '71, and but they got a modern day Lou Alcindor in terms of Giannis, so that may be what it takes to get another one.
Yeah, so like I said before, I'll be happy for him. I see this so all fair. So we get ready for the football, season coming up soon. I'll tell you what, I still looking like this. I believe Princeton was coming up with the Alabama Miami game. I believe by the end of the third quarter, Miami will give out it, but Miami will be out of gas. That's why I got all. That's why I got it predicted.
So they're gonna be out of. Are you saying they don't have the depth to play with Alabama?
I tell you what, I don't think they got the physicality. They ain't got the speed, the aggressiveness. No, I just see the boys being passing out by the third quarter.
Okay. Well, I definitely got Bama winning. And I think the game may be decided by the third quarter as well, Super Joe. But I'm gonna give it as much to it being about Alabama's dominance than Miami's weakness. I think Miami has a chance to be uh, a good um, a good good chance to be a good team in ACC. Um, but I think this Alabama team, if the Alabama wins early, I think Alabama repeats as champion. I think if you don't get them early, Miami and Florida, I think have the best chance to get Alabama this year. And if they don't, I think that Alabama runs the table to another championship because they're only going to get better. Thanks, Super Joe.
That's the way I see. That's the way I see it too. I said I'm able to go. I'm able to go to the Miami, get Alabama versus Miami in Atlanta. I'm able to go to Southern Miss. That ain't hard. But then I'm also be able to go to Starkville. So I'm able to go to 3 games with you. Starkville is the and the LSU game. So I said those are the games I'm gonna probably be able to go to. So that's the good part. 4 games.
All right. Well, you keep them straight in the games you're able to go to. Thanks, Super Joe. You sure you don't want to venture a guess, Super Joe, before you go off there?
Say it again.
I said, you sure you don't want to venture a guess before you go off the air?
Yeah, sure. That's a hey. You know, I mean, don't mind if I do. I'll tell you what, hey, I'm gonna go ahead. Let me go ahead and jump on out of here. I think a little sleep come up on me.
All right, go ahead and get out of here. Thanks, Super Joe. We don't want you falling asleep on the airways. So, all right, let's let Super Joe go. I actually have a guess um, that's been ventured on the Martin Houston page. I'm going to hold that guess off to the other side. If we have anybody calling in that wants to venture a guess, please go ahead and do so. And if we have more than one win, I'll send out more winner. We'll send out more than one package if the airways while we're on break lights up. And all I'm asking is how many interim and head coaches have been at the other 13 schools since Nick Saban took over the reins at Alabama? You can venture your guess at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter, at the Martin Houston Live on Facebook, or you can call 205-342-9904. We come back on the other side and we'll have an answer to that question.
Tide 100.9 traffic. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, a wet, rainy Monday morning. We do have a wreck on McFarland. It's eastbound in front of Lowe's in Northport. It's blocking. Possible develop. It's not the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talk, which is a 1 to 1.5 hours lunch and learn that we can customize your needs. If you're single, you don't have to ask anybody if you can stop and get something to eat on the way home. Sorry, George. I'm sorry. You said he didn't get to you.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. We're glad to be with you right here on the Martin Houston Show. Let's get things going. We have a poll question up, and that poll question is: How many coaches have been at the other 13 programs since Nick Saban has been at Alabama? I have a guest online, via chat, and so I'm going to give an opportunity for that person as well to get on here. But I'm just letting, and like I said, if we have multiple winners, we'll be okay. I have more than one shirt, so don't stress. If you got the correct answer, you will get it if I bring you on the airwaves. So, all right, we got George in Macon. George in Macon, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
I'm good, Mark. How you doing?
Doing good.
My guess, first off, my guess is 53.
How many?
And that's a tough 53.
53.
Yeah,
Mm,
I came up with.
you missed. You're not within. I'm not going to tell you whether you're high or low. But you're not within the 3 to 5. So it could be as low as in the 40s or as high as in the 60s. So but either one of those numbers are a lot, right? Curtis Lewis guessed on Facebook. He guessed 25. So and Joe had guessed 30, and both of those were low.
The way I came up with it was just to get over. You had Tuberville, Cheesy, Malzone, and now the new guy, you got Hanson or whatever, that's 4. And I
Harson.
think you get 4 or 5 or 4.5 with between, all the teams. So that's how I came up kind of with that number.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good thought process. And it almost works to perfection. So good thought process there. You got anything else for us? CJ Watson said I'm gonna say 50. He's not within the 5 either, so he's saying 50. Hey, let me ask you this. Um, you know, you guessed 53, which was off. But let me ask you a question about SEC Media Days. You can, if you could ask, you can answer either one of these questions or both if you want. If you were at SEC Media Days and you could ask any coach other than Nick Saban a question, who would it be?
Any other coach
He said, think, think, yeah, think about that for a second. And then my other question to you is, if you could ask Nick Saban any question you wanted, what would you ask him?
5, 4 years ago, I was at the Naked Noon, and you were there, by the way. I bet. And I was one of the people who asked, and it was that year that Lane Kiffin just got chewed up with his dynamic.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of aim at whether y'all, when y'all deciding on a play, and you're talking on your headset, what all y'all discussing. And then I said, what after the play's done, what y'all discuss. And he kind of got a kick out of it. He went to the analytical part of it, time of possession, time left in the quarter, down and distance, and that sort of thing. And then he said, sometimes I do get upset with my coach. If I was to ask him a question, it was back about 7 or 8, 5, 6 years ago when we were playing Tennessee. He ran he did a fake punt, which I thought was totally out of character for him. And I was wanting to know what was in his thought process at that time. And then there was a time and distance situation against Tennessee. It was like third down on their 3-yard line, and he ran a play that I thought again was really out of character for him. And I would really get my question corrected and the date and the time and distance on it. Say, what was in your mind when you ran that play? And then you probably say, who asked that play? Stand up.
Let me, hey, but George, let me ask you this. One of the things you said that it was out of character, right?
Correct.
So when's the best time to run a fake punt?
Probably when you're out of character. Kirby Smart did it in 2000.
Now, Kirby Smart did it when he was stupid on his. That's different. I mean, no, when Kirby did it, he put in the backup quarterback, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's getting ready to run a fake." So,
thank you. I was in the nosebleed. I said, my gosh, it's going to be a fake. It's going to be a fake.
Right. So it's not just when it's out of character; it's the element of surprise as well. So if you run it out of character, but you take away the element of surprise, then you don't get the advantage of it being out of character. The whole key is you either have to be a guy that's your personality. Um, and there's some guys that are that way, and they have nicknames like Riverboat Gambler and stuff like that. But then those guys just run them just on sheer percentage, and they're using a desperate situation. But think about the few times we've seen Nick Saban run fakes, and like the national championship game against Clemson, out of character, but he saved it for that moment.
I got a good question for him.
Okay.
In the past, he has mentioned nutrition. And so he has that nutrition center. He had mentioned vision. And then I think they have a certain vision center, pick up things, how Nick says you gotta see a little, see a lot. And then we did the catapult system, 4 years ago, we still got it for everybody else. I would like to know what he sees in the future of another program, or what he's going to do that's so much different from staying out of the box. Just like got rid of Scott Cochran and got the new guys, Rowe and those guys. What new and out of the box is he thinking about for the future?
Man, that is a great question. And George, I'm willing to bet no one will ask any coach that type of question. I mean, I'm sure that there'll be players that will say, "Hey, there'll be questions around how have the changes impacted how you coach, but what's the next differentiator for your program in line with nutrition, weight training, the facility type of upgrade? And that's a great question. I'm gonna put some thought behind that and see if I can even come up with that answer by Wednesday, maybe. So thanks, George. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you. I enjoy your show, Mark.
I appreciate you being a part of it. Joe, what about that? Would that not be a great question, man? For do what now?
Yeah, I think it'd be an awesome question to see what kind of
What is he?
level thing that Nick Saban is cooking up for his program.
Yeah, because he's always ahead of everybody else. So what is he gonna do next? So I do have a correct answer on chat. Joe. Uh, but and this person is gonna win. There is a correct answer that has been submitted. I wonder if they read the same article uh, or same message, got the same message I got that provided this information. But I'm gonna give a chance for a caller. This person typed it in on chat, so if you want to get that answer and call in and pretend like you knew it, it's available on one of my social media outlets. Posted in chat, so you're welcome to call in at 205-342 9904 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. And I'm looking for how many coaches have led the other programs in the 15 years that Nick Saban has been at the helm of the University of Alabama football program. You can call us at the Taco Casa hotline and get in on that conversation and win a Martin Houston swag package today. As we go to break, want to remind you about Alabama One Insurance. Alabama One Insurance, your one source for all your insurance needs. If you're looking for an insurance company that would do all the hard work, all the labor for you, we'll shop it for you with several major carriers, including the likes of Progressive and others. And all you have to do is call one number, 205-342 0112 205-342-0112, or go to alabama1insurance.com and we can get your quote information right there and handle everything. You don't even have to come into our office. We can handle it all electronically and digitally. That's Alabama One Insurance. We will review your coverages, reduce your premium, and you can relax knowing that you're properly covered. So review, reduce, relax. That's alabama1insurance.com.
Custom curving, they are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Custom Lisa Custom Curving, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curving can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. If you tell them Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curving at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curving LLC.
The best biscuits in town, made from scratch. Buttermilk biscuits, sandwiches, and bite-sized snacks, sausage, ham, chicken, and many more varieties. Get them freshly baked or pre-cooked and bake them yourself. Where? No else but the Biscuit Shop, Essex Square Shopping Center, Northport. TheBiscuitLady.com.
But I understand you. Carly's Car Shop demands more engine fixing horsepower, waiting to floor to find their staffs of backup.
We need to finish up that group today. It cannot be here for another 2 weeks.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you remember a time that you would go to the drive-in movie theater and have a blast as a kid? We can pass on the experience to a new generation every Saturday at dusk at Government Plaza. We are showing a movie in the park on a 30-plus foot screen. Our next movie is Hocus Pocus. We have food vendors on site. This is your chance to bring out the kids and enjoy a family-friendly event, and it's free thanks to our sponsors: Pepsi, Bryant Bank, Tuscaloosa Tourism and Sports, Florida Lawn Exterminators, First Kids Urgent Care, the City of Tuscaloosa, and Town Square Media. Join us Saturday, July 24th at Government Plaza.
The sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
You're on 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, man. Let's get with it. Still waiting on a winner to call in and tell me how many coaches have been at the helm of the other 13 programs since Nick Saban took over at Alabama. Hard to believe we're saying Nick Saban has been at the helm for 15 years. Anybody that would have taken that bet would have made a killing. Most people didn't think he'd make it through one senior class, much less be recruiting his 15th class right now, or signed. I guess he signed 15 classes. This would be his 16th class since he signed that first class, even though he didn't recruit it very much. But anyway, Nick Saban, still the king of recruiting. And this is the one thing, Joe, that that they use against him all the time is what? In recruiting. Well, he's getting old. He's 70. He was 67. He's 68. He's not going to be there very long. And he just signed a contract that gets him up through age like 77 through 2028. And with that said, he is without a doubt the daddy of football. That would get Nick Saban 22 years if he lives out his contract and honor. And when I say live out, I'm not talking about whether he's going to die or not. I'm saying if he stays. He already is the second longest tenured coach at Alabama behind Coach Bryant, and would be just on the heels of Coach Bryant. And they used it. He's not going to be here, Joe. But Curtis Moore II guessed 60 coaches as the answer. 60 coaches was his answer. And according to Laura Rutledge, that would be the correct answer, Joe. 60 coaches. 60 interim head coaches and permanent coaches, counting the 4 this year, is how many coaches have been at the helm, either interim and or permanent head coaches. I think that George probably miscounted a couple of interim coaches, Joe, so that's why his number was off. But 60 head coaches, is that not amazing? That is an average of between interim and head coaches. That's an average 4 coaches per program per year. And you look at the last 2 years, we have, since the last time we had an SEC Media Days, there's 8 new coaches, 4 from the previous 2020 season and 4 this season. So that average is holding up. And yeah, everybody tries to recruit against Nick Saban to say that he's not going to be at his program very long. And he may or may not be at Alabama much longer, but I would be willing to bet he's going to be. I wouldn't take any other program head coach over Nick Saban. With that said, that's crazy. And Curtis Moore, Joe, I thought he had read the article, had done some research. He simply said it's simply a wag, and I'll let y'all figure out what type of guess that is. Uh, so he he simply guessed 60 after you said 30. He just doubled your number and guessed 60. But that is correct. So Curtis, you and I'll be in touch, man. Uh, just make sure you shoot me your information. We can communicate via Messenger. I know we always do. So congratulations to Curtis Moore, the second local Alabama guy living down in Florida, staying connected with the Crimson Tide and Alabama football through the Martin Houston Show, right here on Tide 100.9. All right, Joe. I'm not gonna get into what my question would be for Nick Saban. If you could ask any coach a question at SEC Media Days, who would it be?
I think you got a couple good. I'd probably ask Jimbo, maybe about the comment that he was, the comments that where he was talking to his Texas Houston club about beating Coach Saban this year. I'd probably ask Kirby Smart about his team this year, about how he's feeling, about if he can get them over the hump this season. And then you got to ask, Coach O, unfortunately, you have to ask him about the sexual assault allegations that have kind of been going on and swirling around LSU over the last several months.
Yeah, so all of those are really, really good points. Yep, Kirby, how do you get over the hump is a big question. And I think Jimbo Fisher is one season from that becoming the rhetoric in A&M. Jimbo, if you don't beat Nick Saban this year, uh, when do you think you can beat him? Kind of question, because Texas A&M, $75 million guaranteed money, uh, 3-digit, six-digit in terms of the money they spent, 8-digit, $100+ million, facility upgrades and all of that. Man, they didn't do that to come in second, in the West continuously. And so he's going to, I know he kind of got upset, but he's going to have to answer that question. And I would start off asking him that right off. From the Coach O standpoint, I guess I could see that too. I'd ask Coach O kind of the thought process of, Coach O, was your national championship a fluke or not? You win a national championship and then you go from almost from first to worst. And so was that a fluke? And of course, you'd have to. I don't know what I'm going to ask him. I may have that for tomorrow, but a guy that I'd have to get a soundbite from would have to be Coach Leach. You'd have to ask him a question regarding his program and what does he see different. And that, we missed that last year. So the two guys we've not talked to from an SEC Media Days would probably be the first two guys I would want to talk to, and that would be Coach Leach and Coach Kiffin, and would challenge and check with those guys on their programs in the Egg Bowl and all that good stuff, because you're going to get some good sound bites. Well, what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and get the break, get out of here so that Inside the Locker Room can come and keep you engaged and up to date. But congratulations to Alabama football on another big recruit. SEC Media Days kicking off here shortly. with LSU, Florida, and South Carolina. I'm Martin Houston. That's Joe Gaither behind the glass. We want to thank all of our chatters, our callers, our listeners, our viewers for being a part of the program. This is the Martin Houston Show, brought to you every day by the great folks over at Taco Casa, Alabama 1, Overflow, Express Wash, and South Mart Design, amongst others. If you'd like to be a part of that, give me a call at or text me or email me at martin@martinhouston.org. We'd love to add you to our lineup. Remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not in your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide and have a blessed day.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9.